is my vlog about my microblading experience. I'm really close up right now because my speaker doesn't work well on my phone, so I'm trying to not be overwhelming, but also show you guys how bomb my eyebrows look. Watch this video. It's super informational. It is the entire step-by-step process, so watch it and get your eyebrows did by Kristal because they look bomb.
Been through some bad, I should be a savage.
Hi, I'm Kristal Dexter at Blade Salon, and I am getting ready to go over with Becca everything that we're getting ready to do and tell her about what's going to happen and kind of walk her through the process before we get started.
All right, are y'all ready? Let's sit down.
Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about, so I'm looking at your medical history. The first thing is, do you have any issues with thyroid, blood pressure, anything like that? You're young, so you shouldn't have.
Nope,
Okay.
I am pretty healthy.
Okay, good. And the reason that I talk about that a little bit is because sometimes when you're on medications for those particular things, it can affect the way that you retain the ink or the color that the ink turns or how you heal. So
Right.
that's all we talk about.
Okay.
The ink that I use is very sheer in color. And the reason that I tell you that is because I have to layer the ink, and with that, the color that's underneath that ink is going to come through.
Mm-hmm.
So your skin's going to be irritated and it's going to be a little red. So when I put a brown ink over that red irritation, it can tend to look a little auburn, a little red at first.
Right.
So prepare yourself for that.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you red brows.
Right.
They just may look like that initially for a little bit. They can look like that for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days. It just depends on how your body heals.
Right.
Okay? So another thing I like to talk about is the first day or so, your brows are going to be a lot bolder and they're going to look a little big to you,
Right.
especially if you're not used to having much of a brow. So if you feel a little like a drag queen when you leave, that's totally normal. It's kind of like a new haircut. You have to get used to it for a few days. So
Right.
I always tell everybody to be emotionally ready for how their brows are going to look, because it can be a drastic change.
Right.
Okay?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I've got my chair covered. We're going to go over and I'm going to start drawing on you and we'll get going.
Yay! There's her pretty chair, her cute room. Okay, so we have some questions from Instagram people. Someone asked, how long does it last?
It can last anywhere from 1 to 3 years, depending on how your body accepts the ink and the environment that you are in.
So like tanning, probably.
Yes, for instance, if you're in a lot of sun, then it's going to fade faster than if you aren't in sun.
Right.
If you sunscreen, and you take care of them. Any chemicals you put on your face as far as skincare, anti-aging products can tend to fade the ink a little bit. There's just different things. If you're a smoker, they don't heal as well as on somebody that doesn't smoke. There's lots of different factors that play into that.
Right. I had another follower ask, she has alopecia, and asked if she could have a brow with no existing brow. Is that something you can do?
Absolutely. If you go onto my Instagram is KS Dexter,
I'll tag that.
You'll see some people that I've done that have no existing brow. So what I do is I feel where your brow bone is, and I kind of gauge your bone structure and how your face is shaped, and that's how I determine where the brow will go. So that's absolutely necessary, or that's absolutely a great idea for somebody with alopecia.
Yes.
Looks very natural, and it's just a pretty way to give you some self-confidence and help you in the summertime when you're at the pool and things like that, and the makeup doesn't stay on as well.
I think that would be awesome for someone.
Yeah, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've cancer
What
patients.
about someone with alopecia? Like, does their skin heal as well? I mean,
Their skin is a little different. So with alopecia and with someone who's had radiation, I'm going to make an educated guess as to what their skin is going to do.
Right.
Some people heal perfectly. I've not had anybody not heal well, but it can happen.
Right.
So that's the reason this is a two-step process. You come in the second time so that I can see how you heal,
Right.
and then I can make adjustments so that we get a better healing the next time.
Right. Awesome. So we're getting our draw on.
So you look a little crazy now. So I was explaining to Becca that on everybody, one eye is always larger than the other eye. So in all reality, your brows will be two different sizes to look right. So what I'm going to do is Becca has really big eyes. So her brows are a little short to match and to frame her eyes correctly. One side of our heads are convex and one side is concave. So if the brows are exactly the same length, they won't look right. So if you were to go home and measure the brows that I do, you'll see that always one is a little bit longer than the other to make sure it matches your facial structure and your bone structure. So don't go home and get a ruler and measure because they will not be right. The goal is not symmetry. The goal is balance.
Right.
Okay? Sense. Alright. So this is the hardest part of the process. And this is the longest part of the process. What I'm doing now is I'm drawing what will be the outline of the brows. So I'm doing lots of measuring. I'm making sure that they fit, her nose and everything where they're supposed to. Finding the center. Because we want them to be balanced. We don't want them to be exactly the same.
Sisters, not twins.
Yes, but not cousins.
Right. Can't be cousins.
Diamonds for 6 of my I'd rather spoil all my friends with my riches.
So another question we had was someone asked, does it hurt?
It really all depends on everyone's pain threshold.
Right.
So everybody is different when it comes to pain. I don't like to hurt people, so most of my clients are very comfortable and they do not have a problem. I learned a little trick that I use to get a little bit of numbing into the brow before I start. The topical numbing really doesn't work well until you open up the skin.
Right.
Well, in order to open up the skin, you have to cause pain.
Right.
So I did learn a little trick though that I do that kind of opens up the pores, and that will take the bite out of it until I can get the skin open, and then we can.
What would you say, like comparable to a tattoo or better?
No, not comparable to a conventional tattoo at all. Most of my clients say that it feels like threading or tweezing.
Right.
And it's not much more than that. Now, I have had a couple of super sensitive people who thought it was more painful.
Really?
But
so what are you?
You have to be really careful with bloodborne pathogens. Make sure that the artist that you decide to go to has the proper training in how to prevent the spread of bloodborne pathogens. If you look on my tray, everything here is covered or it's disposable. There's nothing on my workstation that I will not dispose of.
Right.
The pigment holder, the ink holder is metal, but I've got it covered with barrier film, and then I will also clean it with Cavicide once that I'm finished. Anything that I touch with my hands, like the chair is covered, my lamp is covered, the on and off switch is covered, because I'm just really careful, and I don't want to put myself in danger, and I don't want my client to be in danger. So it's really important that you make sure that your artist has the proper training in bloodborne pathogen.
Yes, that's a big deal. You are opening the skin.
I want it, I got it, yeah. I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it, yeah. You like my hair? Gee, thanks. be looking like phone numbers. If it ain't money, then wrong number. Black card is my business card, the way it be setting the tone for me. I don't need a brag, but I be like, put it in the bag, yeah. When you see the max, they stack up like my, yeah. Shoot, go from the store to the booth, make it all back in one loop. Give me the loot, never mind, I got the juice. Nothing but never we shoot. Look at my neck, look at my neck. Ain't got enough money to pay me respect. Ain't no budget when I'm on the set. If I like it, then that's what I get, yeah.
Okay, we're done. They look so good. I mean, look at the brush strokes. See if I can make a focus on here. They look awesome. It didn't hurt at all. You did so good.
You're welcome.
I love them so much.
Yeah, they turned out
Thank you,
really
thank
good.
you,
I'm
thank
super happy with them. too.
Yeah, they look awesome. Look at that. I can't wait to show pictures. Thank you, Kristal.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Come and see her. She does awesome, y'all.
Yeah. Breakfast at Tiffany's and bottles of bubbles. Girls with tattoos who like getting in trouble. Lashes and diamonds, ATM machines. Buy myself all of my favorite things. Been through some bad, I should be a savage. Who would've thought it turned me to a savage? Rather be tied up with calls and my strings.